Oh my gosh, you're here!
Welcome to My Chatbot Life, where chatbot marketers share high converting strategies in this new conversational marketplace. Each week, MKJ introduces you to bot builders who are just like you, a little techie, a little markety, and a whole lot of geeky. Buckle up as Chatbot Mom enjoys another journey into My Chatbot Life.
All right, bot buddies, I cannot wait for you to listen in on this chat because this particular individual and I usually have a lot of fun when we talk. So you'll just get to kind of hang out as a fly on the wall and enjoy every minute of what we're going to talk about. So let me introduce you to my dear, sweet, beautiful friend, Sue Prentice. Let me tell you, she is a global connector, right? She's in the other side of the world from me. She's an expert digital marketer. Absolutely. I can pick her brain any minute. And mindset ambassador, someone after my own heart. But in terms of what she does for her job, she's a co-founder of Beyond Point. Sue, hello there. How you doing?
Hello, it is so lovely to be here today. I've been so looking forward to our chat. I love chatting with you, and it's just wonderful to connect, and thank goodness for Zoom.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's like the rest of the world realized that they could live on Zoom like we do every day, right?
I know. It was like, oh yeah. So we had a big birthday when this COVID thing all hit, and my friends were amazed because I was like, well, that's okay. We'll just have a Zoom party. And it was one of the first ones, because it was literally at the beginning of last year, February. And so my birthday came around this year and they were going, oh, you were the first Zoom party. I was like, well, Zoom was just a natural thing.
Kind of makes sense for all of us. Yeah. All right. So let's start this all off with who you were pre-bots, right? I mean, you and I have been in this bot world for several years, and but everybody comes from something else. I mean, they don't usually start their career here. So before you got into this whole world of conversational marketing and all of that kind of stuff, what did you do for a job?
Wow, I've been in the advertising and marketing industry like my whole life, different facets of that, which I won't go into because we haven't got time today. But essentially, really pre-running the agency, what I had decided to do was I could see the future of the world and e-commerce going online, and I was very much ingrained in the offline world because of the people connection thing. And I was like, I've got to get into this online world. This is where it's all going. So this was back in 2014. I jumped ship off a very cruisy way of earning money and in the industry, and decided to build my own brand. And so that's what that one I thought was better than anything to get going in the industry. Nothing like cutting your teeth by just doing it. And so literally got into growing an online brand and decided that the best place to do that was the US. That's where all the research showed me the demand was and the traffic and all that kind of stuff. And so decided to head to the US. And we launched the brand there. I actually met my business partner, Giles Smith, on the airplane to Las Vegas to meet a whole lot of digital marketing people. And that's really what started the journey of, getting into like really understanding the intricacies of growing an online brand. So we grew that business to a multi-million-dollar business, flew to China, Hong Kong, all over the world, kept coming to the US to meet all the amazing minds in marketing, like Ryan Dice and Molly Pittman and all those lovely people that we all know. So anyway, we basically went online and literally, that taught us a lot about marketing. We really loved the experience, and that's what we were doing before. Actually, when we came across bot marketing and chat marketing and looking for new ways to engineer stuff and finding people to really understand how we could grow the business to the degree that we had the creative ideas to do. And that's when I was driving in my car one day listening to a podcast, funny enough. And I was like, there's this new app coming out. And oh, that sounds like the kind of thing I'd love to do, because I love conversations, I love chatting. I was like, oh, this would just work. This would be fun. And it was ManyChat. And that was back, literally, it was before it was launched. So I quickly pulled over, wrote a note in my iPhone to go and keep an eye out for this app when it was going to be launched. And yeah, so we were like one of the first 100 people in the app back then. And we were, I think we were like we were actually, because I remember Ryan Dice saying we were one of the first 100,000 people actually as a brand marketing on Facebook. So that's a little bit of my backstory.
Wow, that's amazing. And so it basically led from a bricks and mortar in-person job to, you know what, I think I'm going to jump into this space. And the best way to do that is just fly to the United States, work out stuff, meet people, meet the person I'm going to partner with on the plane, and just jump in this ship and just ride it however it goes, and steer and do everything that I know I need to do. And so that was starting 2014. So, we're talking 7 years ago. And so now we're here. So out of 7 years, and even before that in business, what was the biggest business mistake that happened, or the biggest business obstacle that you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Wow. The biggest thing was, I think the biggest obstacle was we grew too quickly. That was the biggest obstacle that we had, because we were not prepared for such rapid growth and such rapid success and such rapid volume. And we didn't have the people around us to actually help us, tell us what to do. And so that was probably the biggest obstacle we faced in that particular process. I think the biggest mistake we made was not actually having a real expert mentor, because we had to make mistakes to actually learn the lessons. Whereas if we had had a really amazing mentor on board, we probably would have been guided through and not had to make some of those mistakes.
Isn't that amazing? It really, I have to be honest. I was one of these superhero solo entrepreneurs, thinking I can do everything. I can figure it out. I can just jump in and do it. I don't need anybody else. I can't afford anybody else. That was really my limiting belief. I can't afford to hire anyone to help me out. That was a true disability I gave myself. And we're talking 2003 was when I started my first online business, all the way to 2016. And then 2016 and then 2017, Andrew Warner Bot Academy was the first actual course I ever invested in.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy to think that, but it's because of that whole limiting belief I had that, no, I have to figure it out myself. And when I saw bots, I'm like, there is no way that I am going to learn this. I'm not going to be able to learn this fast enough, because I know this is moving really fast. So I knew I had to find somebody, but a mentor, someone who can guide you, that I would not have wasted 14 years of my life figuring it out. Although I do have to say there's positives and negatives of everything, right? So that was a very big positive for me to learn and grow and try things out and test things, to know my own limitations, right? And to know what I could teach myself. But yes, I agree with you 100%. When you get a mentor, oh my gosh, it just makes it go faster, and you avoid all the pitfalls they had to figure out when they did it all themselves. Wow. All right. So that's the actual business and process and all those kinds of things. What about mindset, right? So you talked about mindset. We talked about mindset in your opening when I introduced you. What was the biggest mindset obstacle that you had to overcome, and how did you do that?
I think the biggest obstacle was realizing, really, when you get success, you get black hat tactics and people that try and pull you down and that is actually really something that happens online, which I was completely unaware of until we were pretty successful. Like, we were outselling Apple Beats, Power Beats on on Amazon America. So it was pretty hectic. We were on page one, on the top half of page one, and we were pretty successful for a while, where we just kept getting cut down by people, and the tactics were unbelievable. And so we won't go into those details, but those obstacles kept happening to you, and you just had to pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and make a plan B. And you just have to keep, it's not about licking your wounds, it's about making another plan, coming up with a creative solution, looking at all your connections. Has anyone else experienced leveraging code, collaborating with people, and having this kind of team approach to like doing it really well. And that is a real amazing thing that happens when you are connected to industry like-minded people. So yeah, that was something that I think was an obstacle, where it was just like, you don't know what you don't know until you start doing it. And so when you and with technology, okay, I mean, we're online, so there's a lot of technology involved, and as you know, technology can really get you on a surprise. Stops working, you don't know it stopped working, things happen, and you just have to roll with the punches and just get used to the fact that that is life. And it's not, everyone talks about Facebook schizophrenia and the this and that, but you know what, it's just what we have to deal with, and we just keep going. I mean, we just keep making another plan. If we have to adjust the way we're doing something, then we just need to adapt, and you need to be fluid. Yeah. So I think that's some of the obstacles we've had to, the obstacles in coming across those continual obstacles has made us realize that it's just normal.
Yeah. Yeah. But so let me ask you this, and we're going to go into in just a second some of that schizophrenia that's happening in our industry and continues to happen. I mean, it's happened since day one, but it's gotten a bit more schizophrenic, if you will. I think it's kind of bipolar and schizophrenic combined right now. But before that, though, when all these things were happening and people were brands or companies or people were trying to tear you down because you were successful, the first time you realized that, what was your mindset, and how did you shift out of that mindset to just make that plan B? Because I know that's not just a natural thing to go, it's really no big deal. They're just jealous, or they're just having issues, and they're just trying to tear us down and ruin our business. So we're just going to have to find a plan B. I mean, we don't think like that, right?
True. Yeah.
So what did you do? How did you feel? And then how did you get over it and get a plan B?
Okay. Well, I think it does get back down to some people see problems and some people see solutions. And I really honestly feel that whenever I'm met with a problem, I'm looking for the solution, always. And I don't sit to think about what is the problem. I mean, I learn from it. We've got to learn from the problem so it doesn't happen again. But I think it's the creative thinking and finding solutions and just being positive mentally. And that stems back to some of the real life experiences I've had, which I write about in my first published book. And so it's really just about, some really crazy stuff, like, virtually, trying to survive, death experiences, and having people, like the reality of life and what's really serious out there. And I think COVID has actually really changed the world to make people realize, listen, there's more important things in life than, yes, this little hiccup that happened today, So I think that is something that actually has to happen. So it's something that you just, it's the mindset that it's automatic. It becomes automatic if you practice that. You can't let things get you down.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So thank you for saying that, because I agree. I mean, I was a wrangler on a ranch out at the coast. It was an amazing experience. I loved that job when I was going through college and right after college. And there was a time when it was a foggy day and I kept hearing these sounds going by my ears. I didn't know what it was. Well, it turned out that somebody was shooting practice shooting up in the hills, just practice shooting. They had no idea we were there. I had a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old kid with me on this ride. And the horse was starting to kind of go a bit bonkers because it was like, okay, something's not right. And I had to scream and yell. And I mean, I had bullets whizzing by my head, right? So I'm thinking, I could have died taking out a freaking horseback ride, right?
Exactly.
You realize in those situations, I've also driven an ambulance. So I get it. I've seen people die. I've helped people get well. You realize. So my chatbot breaking down or shutting down or Facebook restricting my page, even though there's no reason to, this is not life or death, people. This is just the way things work, and you figure out a way around it.
Exactly.
Thank you for saying that, because it is so true. When you let these little things get you down, what the heck are you going to do when something really big happens?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really one word, it's perspective.
Yes.
You know, we need to keep perspective on all of this stuff, you know, and it's hard. Look, I'm not perfect. You know, I'm definitely not perfect. Like I probably work way too much, to be honest. But you know, you do have to kind of diarize fun, I find, if you're a bit of a workaholic. But again, it's acknowledging that you are that kind of personality type, and then you have to adjust for that. Yeah. So, you know,
so tell me how
adjusting.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's adjusting. It's just adjusting for every situation, because life keeps throwing it at you.
Yeah. And perspective is a really perfect word for this, because even though, yes, I'm not going to say that you can't feel angry or sad or frustrated. Those feelings are real. So we're not taking away your feelings and say you shouldn't feel that way. That is not the case. Please hear me loudly. But you can feel that way, but the feeling is not going to be at all productive in trying to change whatever you need to do. So feel it. Give yourself 5 minutes, give yourself 5 days. Whichever one you do, it just depends on the longer it's going to take to fix the situation, but you can feel it however long you feel you need. But then change your perspective on what's happening and do something different. So let me ask you this, with all that schizophrenia that's happening in our lives, with Facebook and ads and chatbots and business pages and now Instagram and WhatsApp, or, you know, all this stuff is crazy making. How are you? So did you get bots or pages restricted during all the, you know, like probably July through January, February of July 2020 through January, February of 2021? Did you get any bots restricted or Facebook pages shut down?
Yeah, so absolutely. So for people listening that don't know what we do, we're a digital marketing agency. So we obviously work on a number of accounts, and yeah, we've definitely had some accounts blocked, not shut down, touch wood, but we have actually had accounts messaging blocked because mystery.
Yeah,
into
no
the
clue
mystery
what
box.
it is. Yep.
And you spend hours and hours and hours trying to unpick your bot with the, you know, detailed explanation that you don't get, and pretty much it's just been, you know, a nightmare to the point that we actually peeled back our bots to make them pretty simple, so that we don't, so we don't actually get you know, really pulled up for using tags that we shouldn't and things like that, or you know, things that get your account blocked. And yeah, so we had messaging blocked and banned for a couple of accounts, which we weren't actively doing anything wrong. We couldn't put our finger on it. Yep. But we've learned from those lessons, you know, like we know now with a, you know, I won't get into technical stuff, but like, I mean, if we talk about the post-purchase tag, it's really only got one application, and don't you dare try anything else. And so, yeah, so, you know, there's things like that we have learned with Facebook. I think you've just got to live with the fact that we are working with AI here, and we are not, you know, this whole Australian news thing is interesting, you know, because all those accounts that were closed was because the AI decided that they were news accounts. And what demonstrated to the whole world at that stage is exactly what us as people using Facebook as an ads platform have to deal with on a daily basis. Because when we're trying to get an ad approved or a campaign approved, we're experiencing that same thing across our ad accounts And what happened was, even though Mark Zuckerberg said, okay, I'm sorry, we'll fix it, it took days for
Yeah.
them to unpick the algorithm to work out like, oh, those are not media sites. So, it is interesting. It's what we're dealing with, so when it comes to sensitive, products and terms and stuff, we do need to be careful about that.
Yeah. And just to clarify too, all the bot buddies out there know what we're talking about when we talk about message tags and things like that. But yeah, we had to do the same thing. Every single one of my clients, it's really funny. My Bot Academy training bot got shut down. Every single one of my clients, not shut down, I'm sorry, restricted for a particular time or, whatever. And the only one that wasn't restricted was my Messenger Funnels agency bot. That never was restricted, but every single one of my clients. But the problem is when we're using this platform and our clients are relying on this for their marketing and their sales, and then all of a sudden things go to zero for a matter of weeks, that's zero revenue.
Yeah,
and not only that, reputation wise, they were customer service bots, and it was all inbound. Every message was completely instituted by the customer, not the bot. So it was all inbound, no outbound, and it still got restricted. And now there's no customer service happening. So this is going to hurt the brand and the business completely. So when that happens, I agree. We find other ways. We can't get it turned back on until the gods at Facebook decide it's going to turn back on. But once it does, we change things. We use the one-time notification effectively. We didn't use it for selling, right? You're not supposed to do that, people. But we switched everything. We use zero tags now. Zero. Yeah. We use zero of the tags. And if we need to send any other message, it's going to be a one-time notification. And that's just the way we've changed our lives in chatbots.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you bring up a good point about reputation, because we were all living in this world and we all know the tech and we work with it every single day. We get a bit blasé to the fact that this is normal, but when you're the end brand or the end client, like it's like the rudest awakening. It's an earthquake went off today when my bot stopped working or my ads account stopped working, especially your bot. I mean, we drive a lot of sales through the bots and stuff, and it's just prohibitive when that actually happens. Like, it's terrible. So yeah, we do manage to communicate it. So communication is a massive thing, massive thing with your clients.
Yes. Yeah. And, if you have a good relationship, so if you're a bot builder and that's really all you are doing is building bots, and you are not an agency CEO with a reputation and a responsibility and a relationship with your client, then if you're just a bot builder, then they're going to look at you as a bot builder and they're going to say, what are you doing wrong? But if you have a relationship with your client and you are more of a marketing partner with them and you're actually impacting their revenue and taking that responsibility to do the best you can to do that, then immediately when things happened, I was the first one to tell the client that it was happening. They didn't tell me, right? Yeah. And when you tell them, if you have that relationship, then you can talk about it. But, after like the second or third time it happens, they're going to know that, I mean, nothing really we can do. But guess what, MK, we're going to take our business elsewhere, and not in terms of elsewhere in bots. We're going to get out of Facebook and we're not going to do bots anymore. We're going to go back to email because we can't rely on this. I've had at least 5 clients do that.
That's terrible. And
it's because they're like, I can't do this. I can't rely on this. I can't stake my business on the whims of Facebook. And so, that's the way it goes. You say, bye-bye, have a nice life. And when you find another solution, you go back to that client and say, guess what? I have another option for you. Would you like to start up again? And that's what you do. Otherwise, the clients that stay, you find another way, like not using message tags and only using one-time notifications, and finding other lead generation tactics and other communication or re-engagement. I mean, it's like you said, plan B. It's not that, oh my gosh, I'm just so terrible, I must be awful at this, I might as well just quit. No. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. You don't quit. No quitting. You know too much.
Yes.
You can't quit.
No,
Yeah.
can't at all. It's just not an option. Keep going, keep
No,
pushing,
no.
keep finding a way. If that were the case, if it were all shut down and bots were like out of it and not effective anymore, then none of us would have businesses. And we do. So just keep moving, people. Don't give up.
They're very powerful. They're still very powerful, regardless of all these problems.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. We've talked about mindset. We've talked about business. We've talked about challenges with all the changes. Is there anything else that you would like to add to help people navigate the changes and the chatbots?
Well, look, honestly, I just think right now, we've been saying, actually, one of the great things that we saw in chatbots right back, like 5 years ago, is that, when you're relying on a third-party platform, the only thing that you have is the relationship with your customer. So we saw that back then, right? So you needed, this idea of perspective means pull yourself back up and think, what are we actually doing here? Yes, we're creating conversations and we're taking people down a funnel, and you can't get too focused on that, because the perspective of what you're actually doing is building your data and you're building relationships with your customers. And there's nothing better than a chat conversation to do that, to be honest, because it's a personal way of communicating on a level people want to communicate with. And even though we have the challenges and the rules and the legislations, and many people are going to be blocked right now, and that's thanks to this iOS 14 update, at some point they will still be showing me ads. So it's funny because this is a problem right now. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this because I just I just got a brand new iPhone yesterday, and so it logged me out of all the apps, even though I just transferred my data, and then I had to re-log in. But the iOS 14 is kicked off in Australia. Okay, so every single app said to me, I'm sharing my privacy, they will get access to everything. There was not one notice, it was like 3 things. And my daughter was watching me because she thought that I didn't know how to update my phone. So she was saying, no, say no, say no. You mustn't say no, you mustn't say yes to any of that stuff. They're going to get all your access to your data, and you mustn't say yes. And so I said, no, I don't mind. It's not scary. It's a better experience. And so I said, yes. She was horrified.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now, average mentality that we advertise and promote to is 12.
Yeah.
She's older than that.
Yeah.
So we are going to be affected whether you like it or not. Doesn't mean that they're going to stop using it. No. Mm-hmm. Will they still see ads? Yes. Mm-hmm. If they like it enough, they'll come into your conversation. Mm-hmm. We're just so the conversations we're going to be having are even more meaningful.
Yes.
So they won't be as many. So if you need to communicate with your clients, this is what you need to talk to them about, because we are not going to have the same numbers. No. Because the highway is patrolled. Yeah. And it's not the same free road that we have had the liberty to use. And I actually anticipated this, like you could see this coming for a while. The privacy thing. And I think what it actually means from a level of using chatbot conversations and actually anything that you're doing, pull yourself right back up and go, how am I helping the customer here? Yeah. And then you've got to say, is this the right channel for it? And how can I integrate this in everything they are doing? Because all I'm trying to do is drive people back into a conversation wherever I can possibly do that. That's what you're doing. That's what I think my advice is.
Sue, I got to tell you, this is why, all right, bot buddies, you're listening in. This is why she and I have such a fun time together, because I agree 100%, because this is basically there are 2 halves to a circle, right? And in the middle, you've got the top of this circle, you've got the top at 12 o'clock being your cold lead generation. And that's your Facebook ads, your Google ads, your Facebook Live that goes into your bot, your Instagram link tree, your YouTube link that goes into your bot. All of that is cold lead generation. Then you go to warm. That's the people who engage with your content, maybe, download a lead magnet. Then you go to the hot lead, and the way you get them there is, challenges and quizzes, or, discounts on things, or giveaways, or things like that. Then they become a customer, right? That's only half of the battle. You have to then deliver. You have to actually serve that customer above and beyond what they're expecting. Then the second half starts. That customer now becomes a fan because you have not just said, here, I'm shipping you your product. Have a great time. See you later. Have a nice life. No, you've given them instructions. You've given them more than what they expect in customer service and follow-up and training and all the things they need for your product so that they now become a fan. And the more they engage and have a transformation from your products or services, the more likely they are to become an ambassador of your brand. And when they're an ambassador, now they become your marketing department, and they send you more cold leads. And we've finished the circle. So you're right, Sue. All we have to do is switch what we do and make sure that our conversations are taking care of that second half of the conversation. And we're not just focusing on lead generation and getting them to buy and buy and then forgetting about them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just, and that's why I think going full circle, since we're talking about circles, is really why I was attracted to chat marketing in the first place, is, really the fact that it's a conversation at the end of the day that makes the customer feel comfortable. Okay. If they can talk to you, if they know that you're just a chat away, a message away from an inquiry, it makes them feel more ready to take a chance with your product. If they open it up and there's something wrong that they weren't expecting, can they message you?
Yeah.
Is it easy for them? Is it easy? And is there somebody there to answer the conversation? So this is the stuff.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness. All right. Preaching to the choir here. I know that. Okay. So I know many years from now, someone is going to write your biography. And what would the name of that book be?
Well, I came up with, a name which I literally haven't researched. So I don't know if it's out there because, it's very hard to be original.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally didn't do a Google because I thought life-versity. That's it.
Life-versity, like Life University.
Yeah.
That's
with a mix of adversity.
There you go.
Life-versity.
Yeah, got it. All right. And who would write that book for you?
To be honest, I think the person I'd like to write that book is someone whose life I've massively impacted in my life.
And this person who's going to write this incredible book and that is going to talk about how you've impacted their lives, what would you say is the quote that they would say you lived your life by? Now, this isn't what you're living now, but later, way in the future, I think we're all going to live to like 150 years old, right? So way in the future, what would they say, Sue? What's the quote that they say Sue lived her life like this?
Well, I think I actually have got a few quotes, okay? Because I actually have a quote that I put in, which someone else said. So I'll just read that one out to you because I love Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill was one of the first people that actually, influenced me massively one day when I was in a bad situation. And I didn't want to leave my house for about 3 months. And so basically I went to the bookshop because I lived in a place where we didn't have counseling and doctors and all that jazz. And so, clinical psychologists probably weren't even a thing. And it was just like, oh, well, I didn't know about them. And I was on my own in the country all by myself. So I just went and got this book by Napoleon Hill, which is obviously a famous book, which I didn't even know. And I was probably, how old was I? I was 22, I think, 22. Yeah. And so I love Napoleon Hill. So I'm going to quote Napoleon Hill, which is, when your desires are strong enough, you will appear to possess superhuman powers to achieve. Yes. And so if you ask me what's my own quote, I would say, play life because you only get one rodeo.
And speaking of horses, you never know what's going to happen. They could buck like crazy, so you better hang on for the ride. Oh my gosh, Sue, that's so fantastic. I agree 100%. I can't wait to read your book, find out about some of those stories and the things.
I will send you a copy.
Some of the things that you've had to deal with and overcome, and that made you a stronger, more amazing person. And I got to tell you, I'm so happy we got a chance to spend this time together. So thank you. And until the next time, I have a feeling we're going to have you come back on for sure, right?
I'm so sorry about that phone if you can hear it, but I don't know how to turn it off.
No worries. Don't worry about it. But like I said, I want to have you come back on. I want to be able to do more and talk more about really the solutions that you have, because I know you've created some incredible solutions and incredible businesses. But I'm just so thankful that you were able to spend this time with me.
I really enjoyed our conversation. I'm so sorry for the Wi-Fi chipping in and out on that phone. You see, I told you I got a new phone, and I don't even know how to turn it off.
I know. It's so hard. I know I had to look at this thing too and go, how do I turn it off? Oh my gosh.
Are we saying that we're technology experts or what?
I know. Hey, we don't have expertise on everything, people. Don't worry.
Too funny. But it was lovely to chat to you. It always is. And thank you so much. And I'd love to come back on anytime. I'm sure we'd have heaps to talk about, especially loving what you're developing right now with openness. It's exciting. And I'm in there looking at that. And it's really, timely with everything else that's going on. And this idea of omnichannel marketing, I think we didn't get on that conversation today. And that was something I wanted to mention, to help other people. It's just vital. And like, where can you reach them outside of just Facebook and Instagram? And I think you're doing that with that app, and I think that's going to be brilliant. So good luck, and thank you. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey, MKJ here, Bot Buddies. And I got to tell you, if you heard me talking about that life cycle, that kind of circle of marketing that I was sharing with Sue, and you're interested in what I was talking about, and that was kind of a new concept to you, I've got some news. So that is called the Conversational Lead Generation Life Cycle. And it is a life cycle where we start with a cold lead and we end up with an ambassador who then brings us more cold leads. This is what I use in my business, in messenger funnels, in my agency. And in Bot Academy, my training arm, I'm actually teaching how to use this. Not just teaching how to use it, but I'm also teaching how to use the new platform that Sue also mentioned, called Openless App. So if you're interested in those two things, I have a free training showing you how they work. And I would love for you to join me. If you go to this link, botacademy.com/bootcamp, I would love to see you and explain how this works and find out if this might be the next direction you would like to go in your conversational design and conversational marketing future, because that's really what this is. We are future-proofing our businesses by using amazing marketing tactics and emerging tech. So join me, botacademy.com/bootcamp, and I can't wait to see you there. Ciao. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to the My Chatbot Life podcast. To watch this video chat, visit mychatbotlife.com and get all the rocket boosters you need for your own chatbot success.